so I'm really excited today to talk about this movie. Um, First of all, let me say it's good to be back with my horror mojo once more. I've been reviewing a lot of action movies, a lot of 90s action movies. Still got more to cover, and also must be Western movies. We have to wait for a while. But I finally had a chance to see this movie again, and it's called Tales from the Hood. This is one of my favorite anthology horror movies back in the days, and I also feel like it's still underrated. I never had a chance to see it in the movie theaters because at the time when I heard about this movie, when I saw the trailers and stuff, I'm like, wait a minute, horror and the Hood. I'm from the Bronx, so trust me, the Hood is always a horror story in the Hood. So I was like, I don't want to see a movie about this, right? And one day it was in the video cassette market, and I'm like, I rented it, and wow, I was mind blown how good this fucking anthology horror movie is. There's another horror movie, anthology horror with the Hood ghetto based style called Horror from the Hood or something from Snoop Dogg. That's decent, but it's not like all that as this one. This movie was all that. And to me, I feel like it's underrated in my opinion. Even though a lot of people do talk about it, but I think people should be more aware of it. Hopefully one day it might get a sequel. It came out since 1995, right? That's a long time, but with a lot of fan support, maybe one day, and maybe one day, maybe even better, maybe Scream Factory could release a special edition of this movie because I felt like Tales from the Hood is very, very well deserved of a special edition with deleted scenes, alternate ending if there is, commentary behind the scenes or whatever. I think it's very well deserved. You know. So anyway, let's get this started. Tales from the Hood. You got four stories in this movie. You got the opening and you got the wrap around with these three thugs come to a mortuary, like funeral home pretty much, run by Sam Jackson himself. And he plays like the guy who owns the funeral home, the great keeper pretty much, like. And they went to this guy thinking he has drugs and stuff. So the Sam Jackson character, he ended up telling them about four different stories. One story is about this black politician who got beat up by crooked cops, and then like a year later, he contacted one of the cops who was with these crooked police officers who happened to be a black cop, and tell him bring them to me. So pretty much once the black cop bring the three crooked white cops to the black politician they killed in his gravesite, the black politician came back from the dead, and he's going after the crooked cops for revenge. And it looks like each of these stories have great twist endings. It's not like one of those anthology horror movies where you have one favorite. This movie has every story could be all your favorite. That's how cool this anthology horror is. And that's very rare for anthology horror movies. Speaking for me, you can have all the stories to be your favorite. Very rare. Anyway, that's the story for the first movie. I don't want to ruin too much, but I want you to be surprised. The second story is about this boy who's being abused by a monster. I didn't want to ruin that moment there. Even though this is an old movie, but I feel like the moment in this movie was so good. And this is one of the moments. The second story, when the boy being abused, he goes to school, and the teacher notices he's being abused, and you find out he's a stepdad, right? But then he calls the stepdad a monster, right? And you be wondering why he calls the stepdad a monster. It's the stepdad's the one that's abusing him. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but it has a good twist ending to it. How they face the stepdad, monster stepdad. How they set it up was really good in my opinion, and especially especially the character who played the stepdad role too was kind of funny. I just felt like because the guy to me I know him as a comedian, just to see him playing a monster like a mean guy is just funny to me. The third story, hey, if you love doll horror, then you will definitely love the third story. It's about this racist politician, right? But then he's trying to sugarcoat himself like he was never a racist or so, and trying to make himself look like a good guy, pretty much. And he's living in this haunted house. Like the house supposed to be haunted about this witch woman who souls into dolls, and they don't want nobody living in the house. And then, of course, take a while, guess the dolls come back to life to face the crooked politician. The third story may not be nothing new, but I did really like it. And then we get to the next story, which is like the fourth story / closing to the wraparound opening story is like 2 in 1. you got this black guy who shot another black guy, another gang guy, and then the three gang members comes out the house and they shot this guy, and then he ended up surviving the bullet attack. And this one I cannot ruin. And I felt like I said, the moment was right there. It was perfect how they set the fourth story up, because the fourth story will also explain the opening and the closing too. So if I give you the spoiler ending for this, it's just gonna spoil the whole movie for you. So you can see any other reviews, they'll spoil it for you, but me, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. But anyway, the guy somehow he ended up come back to life with his bullet wounds and stuff. He survived the bullet attack while the three gang members was about to kill him, right? Little wink for you guys for that one. Little spoiler with the wink, so you can take a guess what it's going at with the wraparound closing, right? Um, so this black woman who works for the prison system saying that she wants this person to be part of her rehabilitation program, and she's gonna rehabilitate this. I mean, rehabilitation, because I can't say the word right, but to like reform him pretty much. Like you were once a gang member, but I want to reform you to be part of society now. Like you don't have to live the gang lifestyle no more. You can be free from this. So he goes to different experiments, seeing like KKK killing black people, and she's telling the black gang member, how does it feel for you to kill your own kind, pretty much, And she put him to another test where she sees the spirit of all the people that he kills and stuff. And you get a little twist ended with this one, and of course you get a little twist ended with the closing story that goes with this story too, by the way. So then we get to the next closing, and the closing story pretty much the three guys want their drugs right now. They tired of the stories now, and they face Sam Jackson's character. Sam Jackson's character shows where the drugs is, and let's say they open the coffin, and you take a wild guess what they found in that coffin. If you watch a lot of horror movies, especially 1,000 horror movies, and especially a lot of 1,000 horror movies, because they did this story style before. But again, like I said, Tales from the Hood, they did it really well. They execute this movie really, really well, and that's very rare. Not only for 1,000 horror movie, but very rare for a good horror movie. And Tales from the Hood is one of those good horror movies, and a good 1,000 horror movie that should not be underrated. And all I can say is check this movie out. The DVD is pretty expensive because it's out of print, and like I say, hopefully one day Scream Factory could probably buy the rights to this and release it with like good special features and a Blu-ray release, because this movie really, really does deserve one. Anyway, guys, peace and see you later.